Before we get started today, I just want to send a message to probably people who aren't listening, but dear white folks, calling out racism is not racism. I don't know who needs to hear that, but responding to a person of color who says, hey, that's racist with, no, it's racist that you're calling me a racist, is the equivalent of being on the playground at 5 years old and someone saying, you're mean, and then responding, no, you're the mean one. Grow up. This is Black Steel Magnolia. I'm Tammy Sawyer, a Black Southern girl here to talk to you about tough issues, introduce you to the people I love, and give you a kick in the ass to be the change you want to see in the world. Let's get started. I really wanted to open up with, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Without a dope beat to step two, step two, step two, step two. But then I was debating, is that cliche? But here I am doing it, so I guess that's null and void. But whatever. What's up, everybody? You're listening to Black Steel Magnolia with your girl, Tammy Sawyer. And I know it's been a minute. Today is July 5th. My mother has reminded me every single week, Tamara, it's July 1st. I don't have my Black Steel Magnolia, but I just have to keep it 100 with y'all. I have been in the midst of a crazy time, and I think we all have. So hopefully those of you who have become avid listeners of the show understand the last 4 weeks or so just kind of exploded after the death of George Floyd. You heard it in my episodes. I was sad, I was despondent, but I was also really heavily active on the ground here in Memphis, Tennessee. And that took a lot of my time. It took a lot of my energy. It put my safety at risk. It put my family at risk. It intersected with my work as a commissioner. It intersected with my work with Black Voters Matter. It just kind of took over my life. And just wanting to lift up not just the memories of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and Tony McDade and so many others, but also wanting to translate that into the change that I feel we needed right here at home, was all encompassing. And so there were nights where I wasn't in the house even, at 1 a.m, or able to record how I would usually record. And that just took over. And there were nights where all I could really do was just kind of sit and look at the ceiling while I just considered, what is this world that we're in, and how are we going to break through and really make the change and not keep reliving these moments, year after year, summer after summer, whether it's local like Darius Stewart and Brandon Weber, or it's national names that are knocking on our door. It's like we are in a twilight zone of Black death. And then on top of that, we're having to defend our lives. We're having to say to other people, yes, this is an important topic, even though there's crimes that are still happening in the Black community. You don't matter because someone else makes a mistake. That's the crux of the argument that shows we don't matter. When white people kill white people, no one says, well, we can't defend any white person in a future crime because Joe killed Tom. But when Tyrone kills Dwayne, everybody uses that to say, oh no, Black people don't matter. But see, I have never killed anyone, right? But I am more likely than a Tom or a Joe to be pulled over, to be arrested, to be harassed, to be in jail than they are from the time that they're born. 1/3 of Black boys and 1/17 of Black girls see the inside of a jail before they are 18 years old. We have prescribed this world around the mass incarceration of our babies from the time they are born. So we have to be real about what's happening out there. I think the most important thing is that we don't allow people to co-opt these messages to say we can't talk about Black lives until Black lives matter to Black people. Well, of course Black lives matter to Black people. We bear Black lives. We bury Black lives. We take care of Black lives. We educate Black lives. We love Black lives. We are Black lives. So when people come at us with that argument, they fail to see the whole of our humanity. They fail to see the whole of our existence. It is a fallacy. It is a false argument when people come to us and they say Black lives can't matter until no Black person kills another Black person. I remember in 2015 when the major bridge in Memphis that connects Memphis to Arkansas was shut down by protesters, and the police director at the time, he was the interim police director, Director Rawlings says, "Give me 30 days of no killings, and I'll talk to you about Black Lives Mattering." And when we were in an outrage, when we were in an uproar about that, people couldn't get it. That makes sense. We can do that. But the thing is, if someone over there makes the decision to kill somebody or to shoot a gun at someone, how does that invalidate my life? That's what's messed up with the system. You want to see us as whole when it works to hold us down, right? You want to judge us by one action when it works to oppress us. But you don't want to see us as whole when it's the other way. Clarence Thomas is the Supreme Court justice. Do we say Black lives shouldn't matter because, hey, there's a Black guy on the Supreme Court, so we should treat all Black people like him? Because that's the same argument, right? So we should all have Secret Service. We should all make, millions of dollars a year. But we can't. So how does it work when you say, but Black people kill Black people, so we can't talk about how the police treat Black people? It just doesn't make sense. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 6. And that's the math that people are doing here. So it's just time for people to realize that their math doesn't add up. Black people are tired. I'm fatigued. Literally, I'm tired of this conversation. But it's not a conversation that I can quit having, or many of us can quit having until something gives, until change really happens. But if you're white and you're listening, it's really on y'all, because we really honestly need to focus on us. We've got shit to take care of for Black people. One thing Black people need to focus on is this COVID-19 disease. I don't care what Umar or any other Hotep tweeted. COVID-19 is real, y'all. Come on. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mayor of Atlanta, has COVID-19. If it wasn't real for y'all in the beginning, when Stringer Bell got COVID-19, at least the Blackest mayor in the United States giving COVID-19 should be a wake-up call. But all jokes aside, the lifelong effects of COVID-19, even once it's no longer detectable through testing, your respiratory system, there's potential impact on your neurological system, and so many other things that haven't been studied. We just have to stay safe. And I know that there's a lot of conversations about we're requiring masks. How are we going to ensure that everyone has masks? So there's a lot we have to do to take care of each other, right? So that's when the conversation comes in about how we show up for our own community, getting each other's masks, getting each other gloves, but actually having real conversations so that younger people know this is not some hoax. This is real. This is actually a real disease that is ravaging the Black community. I mean, come on, y'all. Keisha got COVID-19. I have friends who've gotten it and spent weeks in hospitals. And they've told their own story. I'm not going to retell their story here, but it's so funny because my girl Vahisha, aka Twin, we went up to Louisville, Kentucky for the primary, and quick shout out to Charles Booker for the amazing campaign he ran. Was really pulling for him, but that's not why we were up there, but really was pulling for Booker. But we went up to Louisville to help out with voter protection for the Kentucky primary. Louisville, my bad. Louisville is how I'm supposed to say it. I can't say it. But anyway, so we went up to Louisville, and we stopped at the gas station here in Memphis. And we're in the gas station, and we're talking about somehow I had my mask in my hand and I went to put it on and told the guy, let me put this on real quick. I don't want you telling anybody you saw me without a mask. And he goes, oh man, I ain't worried about that. He said, that shit ain't real. And we just look at him like, what? And he says, yeah, that ain't real. I've been working nonstop since this COVID-19 hit, and I ain't got it yet. And I was like, well, that's a good thing. And he goes, yeah, my homeboy's mama, she went and got tested, and she had it, and then she died. And we were like, but wait, didn't you just say you don't believe in it? So there's all these conspiracy theories, but it comes from a place of not knowing what's going on. We have a government that told us we don't have to wear masks. Now we have to wear masks. It's going to be over in 2 weeks. Now it could be 2 years. Schools will stay open. Now schools are possibly going to be partially closed or closed in the fall. It's upending our entire lives, and people, of course, are craving something normal, regardless of our race. But at the same time, we've really got to have real talk conversations with our community, from our mamas to our uncles, to our cousins and our siblings, to our homies and our classmates and our pastors, and our best friends. You got to tell everyone, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands. It's important because anyone from Keisha in Atlanta to Keisha on the block can get it. And speaking of Atlanta, what are y'all doing? These Freaknik pool parties? Are we all trying to get COVID-19? Is this a chickenpox party? Y'all just stay home. Literally, if we chill right now, if we, stay home, go to work, wear a mask, come home, a year from now, possibly this could be over. But the way things are going right now, y'all still trying to have, Freaknik 2020 and all that other stuff. It's just hurting us. And it's not just hurting us. What I want us to do is not be selfish here. It's not just hurting us. We live in multi-generational homes as Black people. So you're not just going to a pool party. You're going to a pool party and you're bringing it back home to your kids or your little brother and sister, or you're possibly bringing it home to your grandma who lives with you, or your mom is taking it to your grandma when she goes over there. Whenever we congregate at my parents' house, there's anywhere from 3 to 4 generations in that house, and so we've got to think about that. We got to think about what the things that we think are just, fun indiscretions, they're actually impacting other generation, the youth whose lungs haven't developed, the adults, the older adults, the elders whose lungs are weak. So we got to do better. And just remember, if Keisha can get it, so can you. Speaking of K's, I just have to say, somebody sit Kanye down. I'm not even going to give him no time. Just Kanye and Biden. Just anyway. But I can't even give them my time. I was done when he married the Kardashians, but that's a whole episode. That's a whole other episode. But before I go, y'all, I just want to really quickly, I tell you, it's for me I'm coming out of this haze and days of the last few weeks where I kind of went into what I kind of call soldier mode. It was all focused on what I believe in, which is the movement to change Black people's lives here in my city, here in this country. And so kind of coming out of that shell, coming out of that bubble, and excited to be talking to y'all again. This weekend I got a cabin up near Nashville, and it was just me in the nature. It was a dope cabin, don't get it twisted. I wasn't roughing it. I wasn't sleeping in a sleeping, bag. That ain't me. But it was nice. But I turned my cell phone off for 3 days, 2.5 days, and played Animal Crossing and read 3 books and listened to some good music and, drank some champagne and just relaxed. And the only way we're going to get through this is if we continue to prioritize ourselves and our health and our mental well-being. And that's a reminder to me as much as it is to y'all. One of the things that I love to do is I love to read, and I don't take as much time for it as I should. And I just reconnected with that this weekend. Like I said, I read 3 books. I read, they were all fiction and surreal fiction. So I read Tristan Strong Breaks the Sky. I read Pet, and I finished The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. And y'all, let me tell you, that is highly recommended. I mean, I was enthralled throughout the entire book. And at the end, my mouth was open and tears were falling. So I highly recommend